Hi guys, this is Stanislas Paillereau for BlenderCookie.com, and today we continue on our series on how to animate a book in Blender. So this is part 4, and today we're gonna finish the rigging and the animation of the book, and actually decided to save all the materials and rendering for part 5. Because I think there is enough on each subject to separate both. Okay, so today we're gonna animate the book. So as you can see on the screen, so this is gonna be book opening and closing. So so we already have the rig for the cover and the mass of pages, and now we just need to combine the flipping page that we've made in part 1 with the rest of the book. So let me show you what this tutorial is going to be about. So we're going to have to create some more bones for our material. So what we are going to do is to create one bone to drive the rotation for each flipping page. Then we're going to cycle this to have as many flipping pages as we want. So that's gonna include that all what we've done in part 1 is gonna be a little bit adapted. And I'm going to show you why a little bit after, because what we did in part 1 was I basically in part 1 show you the basic method, but now we're going to apply it for the whole book. So we're going to also work on making sure that the pages are going to wrap on the mass of pages. As you can see, for example, let me hide that. Like for example, for this page, you can see that around the spine of the book, it wraps on the mass of pages. So I'm going to show you how I did that. And at the end, we'll animate everything: the opening of the book, the flipping page, and then closing of the book. So what we're going to do right now is to open the part 3 Blender file. And we're gonna start from there. So here's a file when we left off last time. So far we have made in part 2 and 3 this rig that allows us to open and close the book. Part 1 we've done those flipping page, and so today we're gonna combine both of them. And the first thing we're gonna do to do that is we're gonna select all our pages here and we're gonna delete them. So X to delete. And don't worry, we're gonna remake them after. But the thing is, if you remember in part 1, so when we backed the animation, so by creating our MDD file, we backed also the rotation of the page. So both the deformation, which is the deformation is created by the position of the SMT, the scale, and the bending, and the overall rotation is driven by this page turn MT. And I just realized that if we want something a bit more flexible, because this animation of the flipping page is gonna work only when we are gonna do 180 degrees turn, and and maybe this is not what you want to do always. So typically, if you want, let's see, if you want, for example, somebody that have grabbed the book and start to flip page with like for example with the finger, you're gonna have the book like almost closed like this, and you're gonna have pages that's gonna go from there to there. So you're gonna the page turn is not gonna be a 180 degrees. So I found a solution to make sure that we can have this possibility. So even though I'm gonna show you an animation with an page flipping from 180 degrees, it's good to rig your book in order to have more possibilities after. So just to let you know that some of the stuff we're going to do today is because it's just to offer you the possibility to make some more complex, or just, let's say, different animations. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is so you can show all those layers, so the two on the left here and the two following on the top. I'm going to select the thickness bone here and go to edit mode and in front view with the one on the numpad. And I'm going to duplicate the thickness bone, so Shift D to duplicate, and I'm going to move it on the third layer here. I'm going to show this layer, so by going to the object data on the layer panel, just click on this one. We're going to rename it page_root, so because that's going to be a bone that's going to make sure that the pages are going to stay close to the binding here. And we're going to so select page root first, then the thickness, and we're going to hit Control P to parent the page root to the thickness. So then I won't need this layer anymore, so I'm just going to select this third layer here, and we're going to replace our page root bone. So on the head we're going to type for the Z .07, and for the tail it's going to be .17, like that. I'm going to duplicate the page root to create page 1, which is going to be the bone that's going to drive the rotation of page 1. And for this one, the position is on the tail, it's going to be 1.6. And just make sure that the roll is 180. Should be, you don't have to do anything, but just check. So for page root, it has to be minus 180, and for the page 1, 180. So just check that to make sure that everything is fine. We're going to now parent the page 1 to the page root. So I'm selecting page 1 first, then page root, and I'm going to hit Control P and keep the offset. If you tag back and you go into pause mode, you can see that those two bones still have the bone shape of the thickness, so we don't want that. So if we go to the bone here panel, and under display we have custom shape, and we're gonna delete the BF thickness we have here, and we are going to do it for both. So if you cannot select page 1 here because it's hidden by a page root, if you go to edit mode, you select page 1 in edit mode, and then you tag back, and you're making sure that you have page 1 selected, and you can delete the BF thickness also for this one. Okay, so we're gonna lock for page 1. We're gonna lock all the location. We're gonna switch the rotation mode to XYZ layer, and we're gonna unlock the Z. And for the page root, we're gonna lock everything. So just lock all the channels. The next thing we're gonna do is to add some constraint to those two bones. So we're gonna do everything for page 1, and then we're gonna duplicate then everything for page 2, page 3, and etc. until page 6. So first let's do all those constraints for those two bones. So I'm selecting page root first, so we're going to do page root first. There is already a limit location. This is because this is a duplicate of the thickness, so we're going to delete this one. And so let me show you what we need to do for this one. It's just we just need a little constraint, because if we select the main controller and we close the book, you can see that we have a gap between the binding here and these page roots bone. And because the page root bone is gonna be the one that's gonna make that's the one that's gonna drive the location of our pages, we want to avoid to have this gap, because that means that the page is gonna be going further here than the mass of pages. We don't want that, so we're just gonna add a little transformation constraint on the page root to make sure that it's gonna stay close to the binding. So I'm gonna select a transformation here, and it's gonna be the target is gonna be the book armature, and the bone is gonna be the def edge. The source is gonna be a location on the Z from -.02 to 0.02. So all the channel is going to be on the Z here, and the destination is going to be a location, but this time on the Y from -.02 to 0.02, and it's going to be on the local space like that. And so you can see that now as I move my main controller, if I hit Alt-R to clear the rotation, you can see that when the book is open and when the book is closed, the page root is going to stay close to the binding. So it's not perfect, as you can see. If there is one or two position where it's not exactly touching, but that's okay because that's close enough for what we want. Okay, now we're gonna put a constraint on the page 1. So there is already the limit location also, because this is a duplicate of the thickness. So we're gonna delete this limit location, and we're gonna add a limit rotation on this one. So why that? So actually it's not very necessary, but because we can, so it's not very necessary, but because Blender can allow to have drivers, you're gonna see that it's just gonna help us a little bit more after when we are going to animate everything. And why that is that because right now I can, as you can see, we can rotate the page 360 degrees, and actually I mean, if we want something more realistic, obviously the page 1 cannot go further than the mass of pages, so basically you cannot rotate more than 180 degrees here, from here to here. And if we close the book, it can, I mean, it's going to be even smaller, so you cannot go further than that, those two positions here, as you can see on the screen. So I mean, we can animate everything to make sure that it's not gonna rotate from there to there, but it means that you always have to calculate what will be the value to animate that. And well, the good part with the Blender is that we can we're gonna be able to log those values to make sure that we don't go further than that. So I'm going to select page 1, and so the limit rotation is going to be on the Z and on the local space. So if the book is open, if I type here -90 to 90, that's perfect. Our book is I cannot rotate more than those two values, so between those two values. So that's exactly what we want. I'll check for transform also here. But now if I close my book, for example, a little bit, okay, you can see that now we're going further, so it's not what we want. So those value has to change as I open or close the book, obviously. And same thing is if I start to move my cover around, for example, and my cover and my pages. So I need to find a way to make sure that my page 1 won't go further than my mass of pages. So I found a solution to do that, because in Blender, as you know, we can use drivers. And so we're going to hide drivers for those two values, and with the right target values, we're going to be able to achieve exactly this effect. So I'm going to right click here and add a driver on the min and add a driver on the max. And so I'm splitting the view in two just to bring here my graph editor and the driver. So select driver here. And so as I told you before, so those value, the limit value, it's going to be driven by when I close the book, so the rotation is the main controller, when I move my cover, when I select the cover manipulator, and when the cover manipulator, and when I move the mass of pages. So there is 3 values that's gonna drive the minimum value here. So that means that if I select so we're gonna start with the minimum here, selecting the minimum, and to bring the hand panel, and I'm gonna delete the generator here, and that means that we're gonna need 3 variables. So I'm gonna add 2 more variables. The first one is going to be called var, that's perfect. The second one, I'm going to call it var1, and the third one is going to be var2. They are all going to be transform channel. So var1 is going to be the book armature is going to be the controller, and that's going to be the X rotation. The target is going to be the X rotation on the transform space. For var1, it's going to be book armature. And that's going to be, let's say, first cover dot. So for the minimum, it's covered dot R, and that's going to be a X rotation on the transform space. And for the var2, that's going to be a book armature. So the transform channel, book armature, it's going to be the X rotation on the transform space, and the target bone is going to be the pages.r. Okay, so basically, so the minimum is on the other side, is this one. So basically, I can move those, and I want to find now a scripted expression here. I can enter with those 3 variables to make sure that this bone is not going to go further than this position, right? Okay. So the scripted expression for the mean that I found that work is minus, so bracket, 1.5708 minus var1 minus var2, close the brackets, and plus absolute of var. Okay, so let me, so you can check it here. So basically var1 and var2, so 1.5708 correspond to an angle of 90 degrees in radians, and so I'm just subtracting var1 and var2, which is the rotation of those 2, and then I'm adding the rotation of the main controller in absolute value, because I want this to work on both sides, if I am here or here. Right? Okay, so that should work. Now if I rotate, you can see that I cannot rotate more than the mass of pages, so exactly what I want. Let's do it for the maximum now. So quick way to do it, we can copy the driver here and paste it for the max. And if I go now here, I just need to make sure that this is cover.l and page r.l for this one. Yeah, and I want to change the value to, let's see, the scripted expression for this one. You just delete the minus at the beginning, so here, and we're gonna, instead of a plus here, we're gonna have a minus, and now everything worked perfectly. So I cannot rotate my pages more than those values. So it's not, as I said, it's not really mandatory if you want to animate, because you can animate by hand from here to here, but the good part is that you don't have to calculate each time those 2 values, those 2 limits value. So that's quite handy now. Okay, so let's merge those 2 windows. I can select everything with H-wise, Alt-R, Alt-J to make sure everything is clear, and we can try in different position if you want to make sure everything's working nicely with the drivers. So let's see, everything seems to work here. I'm gonna select the cover, just checking. Okay, and if I close this one, it seems to work. Okay, so everything is nice and clean. What we need to do now is to recreate our pages. and apply all the modifiers, the armature and other stuff I'm going to show you to make sure that we have our page flipping on the book. So we're going to do that now. Okay, let's continue to create our pages. So we have one or two things to do. So as I said before, so the idea is to use now this bone to act as this page turn empty we have here. So we need to disable the rotation of the page turn and rebake our animation. So what we're going to do is I'm going to change the view here to animation. With the page turn here selected, so we're going to click on those two speakers here, and you can see that the waves disappear. And like that, that's our page turn is gonna stay in place. So basically, when if you want to disable an animation of an object, you just uncheck those two speakers here, and the animation will be disabled. But in that case, you want to make sure that the page turn is resting on the floor, so you want to make sure that all the rotation are clear. So you can do Alt-R to make sure that everything is clear on the page turn. So we're going to switch back to default here. And before we rebake the animation, we're going to make a little bit of change on the geometry of the page. And this is just because I realized that we can improve a little bit the precision for the animation a little bit after. We are going to see we need a little bit more geometry along the spine of the page to make sure it's going to deform right. I mean, we have a better deformation around the mass of pages. So we need a little bit more of geometry, and we need to do it before we bake the animation, because if you remember well, then we bake the animation in order to create shape keys, and if you don't have exactly the right geometry between your target and your origin of geometry, you're gonna have some problem. So I'm gonna go to Top View 7, and then I'm gonna hit Tab to go to Edit Mode. So I'm gonna add an edge loop here between the second and the first and second edge loop here. So Control R and left and right click like that. And the second thing we're gonna do is I'm gonna select, so Alt left click to select all the borders of the page here. I'm gonna hit N to bring my end panel here, and we are going to increase the mean crease up to 1 here. And so basically this is to make sure that our corner is gonna be sharp here. And because we're gonna add some subdivision surface after, we just want to make sure that those corners are gonna stay sharp. So that's a good way to do it. We could also like add some edge loops here like that if we want, to make sure that it's gonna be very sharp. Everything depends on the result you want to have at the end. I mean, you can have a book with a rounded corner. In that case, you don't need to sharp all those corners. But in case you really want those corners to stay sharp, you can combine those two solutions to make sure that it's going to stay sharp. So I'm going to tab back to go to object mode. So let's see, just going to check if everything stay nice. So we just need to rebake the animation. So now we just have the deformation actually of the page. So if you don't have it enabled anymore, go to user preferences and don't forget to enable the MDD exporter. So by going to the user preference, you tap MDD on the add-ons and just check this box to make sure that it's enabled. So I have it already enabled. So I just have to go to File, Export, and Lightwave Point Cache. And we can create, so we can rename it like Animate Book _ final. Make sure that we are working on 24 frames per second and type 37 for the hand frame as we've done in part 1, and export MDD. Okay, so we created the MDD. Now we can duplicate our page, so Shift D to duplicate it. And I'm going to move by hitting M on the fourth layer here. So go to this first layer, select your page 1. We're going to rename it page 1. Page 1, like that. Make sure that if you go to the little cube icon here for the relation panel, just clear the parent. And if you go to the modifier panel, we're going to delete the lattice modifier, like that. Let's see. Now we can re-import the MDD to this geometry. So I'm going to go to File, Import, File, Import, Lightwave Point Cache. Select the MDD we just created and import MDD. So you can see that. So we still have the same problem we had in part 1. So if you remember well, to correct that, you go to the Shape Key panel, select the basis, uncheck relative, go to Edit Mode, select all your vertices, rotate on the X 90 degrees, tap back to go to Object Mode, rotate X 90 degrees, and S, Y, -1. And we're going to add another rotation. This time it's going to be rotate on the Y -90 degrees. And this is because I want to make sure that my page is aligned with my bone page 1. And because I created my page 1 bone vertically like that, I want to make sure that my page is also on the same plane. So now we can go to Object and apply rotation and scale. We check back relative here on the Shape Key, and everything looks nice as we want. Okay, so I'm gonna just bring it up a little bit on the z-axis. So I'm gonna type here 0.07. Also, just to make sure that we are on the same. I mean, the tip of the page 1 is at the tip of the page 1 bone. Okay, so the next step is to apply some modifiers to our page 1. So the first thing is we're gonna go to the modifier panel. I'm gonna add an armature here. It's gonna be a book armature, of course. Uncheck the bone envelope. We're gonna go to the vertex group panel here. Add a vertex group by left clicking on the little plus here, and we're gonna call it page 1. Go to Edit Mode, select all your vertices, and assign all the vertices to the page 1. And now, if I rotate my page 1 bone, you can see that I'm rotating also my page 1. So exactly what we want. Okay, next step, we're gonna make sure that our page is gonna wrap on our mass of pages. So let me show you. So right now, if I take my page 1 bone and I start to rotate it around, you can see that it's going through the mass of pages. So it's not very nice, not what we want, not realistic at all. So the way we can make sure that the page is going to follow the mass of pages is by adding, so if you go to the modifier, is by adding a shrink wrap. But and for the shrink wrap, we need to specify a target. So you will guess that the target is going to be the pages.l, but not exactly. if we do that, we're going to have some problems. So we need to create an intermediate geometry that's going to be following the top of the mass of pages, and that's the one we're going to use to wrap the page on. So I'm going to select pages.l, and I'm going to hit Shift D to duplicate it. And this one, we're going to call it pages_wrap.l. And for this one, so we have all the modifiers we had on the pages.l, but we can delete the solidify and the edge split. And we're going to make sure that for the subdivision modifier, we have one for view and one for render. And if we go to pages.l, we're going to do exactly the same right now, actually. So view 1 and render 1. Just to uniform everything between the page and all the same pages. Okay, so let's select the pages wrap.l again. So as you can see right now, it's on the bottom, so we want it to be on the top. So for that, you just clear the rotation on the X. So we're going to type 0 on the location, and now it's perfectly what we want. Also, to avoid some problem on the borders of the pages when we're going to use the wrap, we're going to increase the scale of the pages wrap.el on the y-axis. So we're going to type 1.1 here on the y for the wrap.l. And now if I select my page 1, and here for the target I select pages wrap.l, and change the modes to project, you can see that now my page is going to wrap around this new geometry we just created. And the good part is this one is the pages wrap.l is deformed by the lattice, so it's going to always be at this always going to follow the top of the mass of pages. So that's exactly what we want. But actually we don't want to render this one, so what we're going to do is uncheck here the little camera and the eyes, like that we can hide it. And now we have this page that's going to wrap around the mass of pages. So we have the illusion we wanted. Little things we need to do now is we can add a subdivision surface, but we're going to bring it up and put view 1 and render 1. So it's just to add a little bit more geometry at the spine here to make sure that it's a bit nicer and the wrap is closer to the mass of pages. And we're going to also play a little bit with the offset to make sure that when we're going to render, we don't have faces of page 1 and the mass of pages exactly on the same place, because that can create some problems when we are going to render in the next tutorial. So to make sure that we don't have overlapping, we're going to just put a little offset of 0.001 here. And if we go very close here, you can see there is a little gap, and that's going to help us to avoid some problems for rendering. Okay, so that's nice. We have that on the left part, but if I go the other side, you can see so that I need to wrap on the other side of the book. So just doing the same thing we've done for the left part to the right part. So I'm selecting pages.r. I'm going to hit Shift D to duplicate it, and I'm going to rename. So to rename on the outliner, I don't know if I told you how to do it, but you just hold Control and you left click, and then you can change the name. And so we're going to name this one pages_wrap.r. And so we're going to delete the solidify on this one, change the subsurf to view and render 1. We're going to do the same here for the pages. So subdivide 1, just to make sure everything is uniform. Let's go back to wrap.r. I'm going to delete the head slit. Sorry, we don't need it. And that pretty much, and yes, we need, as you can see, it's on the bottom of the master pages, so we just need to clear the location here on the X. So I'm typing 0 here, and now it's on the top, and it's a bit better. Let's change the scale on the y-axis to 1.1, and we can hide it and make sure it's not going to render by clicking those two icons here. Let's save, and now I'm selecting page 1, and I'm going to add another shrink wrap on this one, but this time the target is going to be the wrap.r. That's still going to be a project, and let's see, that's going to be a negative instead of positive. On the other one we just let the value positive, so that's great, and on this one that's going to be negative. And now you can see that it's wrapping perfectly on the other side. And if I go the other side, perfect. Okay, so so everything is nice for the. I think we can even add another subdivision surface just to have an even better smooth pages. It's just to, if I delete this surface, and for example we have a little bit of things like here, for example, you can see that we start to have some bad deformation here, but we can get rid of it if we have a subdivision surface of 1 is enough. So let's see. So you can see that sometimes we have a little bit of problem here, and I think we can get rid of it if we, the other one, if we select back here for the first shrink wrap, and I guess we have the same problem if we go the other side, the hand here, let's see. It's not necessary obviously on the other side, so that's gonna be okay. So I guess that's gonna be all for page 1. So what we need to do now is to there's 2 more things to do. So duplicate the pages to have a fixed page, and then animate all of them to have the effect of page flipping and the opening and closing of the book. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you how to duplicate and make the change for page 2, and then for page 3, page 4, page 5, and page 6 that's gonna be exactly the same. So I'm gonna accelerate the video like that you can still follow, but I mean I don't need to re-explain everything, so because you're gonna be bored for that. So I'm going to show you how to do it, how to duplicate everything for page 2, and then I accelerate the video. Okay, before we start to duplicate everything, I forget to, on the second shrink wrap on the page 1, I forget to put a little bit of offset. So if you go that way, if you remember, I put a little bit of positive offset to avoid some problems. So on this side, that's going to be minus 0.001. Okay, and that should be okay, I guess. Yep. So I'm going to clear the rotation here. So what we need to do is to duplicate so the bone and the page. Okay. So and so we're going to start to duplicate the bones, and then we'll do the pages. So I'm going to go to edit mode. So with my page 1 selected, I'm hitting tab to go to edit mode. I'm going to hit Shift D to duplicate, and this bone is going to be page 2. And so if you tab back, you can see that on our page 2 and on the constraint here, the drivers have been deleted, are not here anymore. So yeah, it's a bit tedious. That means that we have to recreate them for all the bones we're going to duplicate. But there is a quick way to do it is just by copying the driver here. So if I select page 1, I copy the driver and then I can paste it here. And so we do the same thing for the max. Copy driver, paste driver. Okay, so that's going to be all we need to do for the page 2. So now we're going to duplicate, so select the page 1 geometry, and we're going to hit Shift D to duplicate it. That's going to be page 2. And the only things we need to do is change the name of the vertex group to page 2. So to make sure that this page 2 is going to be derived by the page 2 bone, and we just need to change the offset here of the shrink wrap. So it's going to be 0.002 for page, so for the first shrink wrap, and minus -0.002 for. And again, this is to avoid if we have like for example, so page 1 like this. It's to avoid that, to have now let's see if I might have done let's see, yeah, that's okay. So if we have so those 2 pages like that, for example, we want to make sure that we won't have overlapping geometry. So you can see there is a little bit of offset here, so that's what we want. Okay, so we need to do that for page 3, page 4, page 5 and 6. So I'm gonna do it, and I'm gonna accelerate the video because you don't need to hear me repeating the same things again and again, and I don't want to bore you. But I'm gonna do it and accelerate the video, and I catch you after.
Venu de la verrerie, toujours la vérité, et ce marbre seul dans ses lignes biscuitées. Par terre, étendue, la girouette coule de girofle. Il se coquille ce sacré patapouf. Venu de la verrerie, toujours la vérité, et ce marbre seul dans ses lignes biscuitées. Par terre, étendue, la girouette coule de girofle.
Okay, so I duplicated everything. Everything seems to working nicely, and just making some tests to see. Seems to be okay when I manipulate everything. Okay, so the last step we need to take care of is the whole animation. Because so far, what we have is so we have the deformation of our pages, but as you can see, we need to offset the deformation because it has to happen within a time offset for each pages. and we need to animate the rotation for each of those bones. So I know it's a bit tedious, but unfortunately in Blender there is no easy way to array an object and apply a time offset. So the array is pretty cool on Blender, but unfortunately we don't have this option. So we have to do it a little bit more manually. I hope someday somebody is gonna work on that, because I have to say for motion graphic typically it could be a very great add to Blender to have a more powerful array. So there is an advanced array modifier that I showed you on part 2 or part 3, which is great, but I think now I mean there is probably some stuff to do here in Blender, and I hope someday we're gonna have that also. But I'm pretty confident on the developers to bring that to Blender someday. Okay, so right now we need to do it manually. So we're gonna animate everything, and that's gonna be the last part of this tutorial. Okay, so let's do that now. Okay, let's do the animation now. So that's going to be the last step for this tutorial. So I'm going to do it for the page 1 and page 2, and for the other ones I'm going to again accelerate the video, because I don't want to bore you with doing the same step all over again. So first let's switch to the animation view here. And we need to correct something that I forget when I duplicated the page. So if you toggle open all the here in the NLA editor, if you toggle for all the pages, the channels here. So we're gonna click on all these little snowflakes, just to bring the strips on the NLA editor. And so here you should have the dub sheet, but if you don't have it, select dub sheet here. And for each one of those strips, we're gonna delete the first and the last keyframe. If you remember in part 1, we did that because it seemed that the importer, the MDDA importer, created 2 more frames that we need. So let's select page 1 first, and we're gonna select these strips, and we're gonna hit tab to go to so to see the keyframes here. So I'm gonna bring that down a little bit, and I'm gonna select so the first and the last keyframes here, and I'm gonna hit X to delete keyframe. So so it's just to clear that, and I'm gonna hit A to select other keyframe and grab -1 just to bring that on frame 1. Okay, I'm gonna tab back here, and don't forget, each time you're gonna do some change here in the dub sheet, we need to make sure that we're gonna sync the action length. So when you tab back here, you just select sync action length, and it's gonna make sure that now the strip corresponds to the right length of the animation. So we're gonna do that for all the pages. So selecting page 2, select the first and the last keyframe. So you're selecting the keyframe on the top to make sure that you select everything that is under. So at this level, you have to select at this dub sheet summary level. X to delete and select everything, grab, G to grab, and -1. Tab back here, don't forget to sync the action length, and we do that for page 3. Delete, grab -1, tab back, action length. So I'm doing quickly just to correct this that if you want to avoid this, I should have done it before I duplicated all the pages actually, but we need to do it right now. And the last one, here, delete, select everything, grab -1, tap back, 5 action lens. So now we have, okay, the right lens for these animations of the deformation of the page. Okay, so we can now toggle those back like this. I'm going to select page 1, and we're going to do so the animation for the rotation of this bone. So each of these bones is going to have the same length in time for rotation, which is 37 frames. That's the time frame we selected at the beginning of the tutorial. So we're going to keep this time frame for all the bones. They're just going to have a time offset of 6 frames to make sure that we have the flipping page effect. So with page 1 selected, I'm going to go to frame 1. So you can type here 1, or you can scroll to go to frame 1 like that. I'm going to type here on the Z 90 degrees, and I'm going to right click to insert a single keyframe. So if you remember, we hold this position for 5 frames. So if I go to frame 6, I'm going to insert a single keyframe. Then I'm going to go to frame 32, type -90, and insert a single keyframe, and go to frame 37, insert a single keyframe. And if you remember also, we at frame 19, we inserted a single keyframe again. And if we go to the graph editor, just rescale to see everything. So again, it's Control Alt and left click to resize your view, or you can. So this is for, because I'm using a tablet, but if you're using a mouse, that's going to be on the Mac. It's Alt middle click on the mouse, and I think on the Windows it should be the same, Alt and middle click. Okay, I'm selecting this keyframe here on the middle, and I'm going to scale it down a little bit and rotate that way. So if you remember it, we did that to make sure that the page is going to slow down during the rotation when we are right in the middle. So now I'm going to click to this little snowflake to make the strips appear, and if we watch, so we're gonna so if you watch the page 1, which is this one, so we have now the rotation that corresponds with the deformation of the page, so exactly what we want. So we're gonna do the same thing for page 2, but with a time offset. So it means that so I'm selecting the page 2, and I'm gonna go 6 frames after, so in page 7, in frame 7, and I'm gonna type here -90, 90. I'm gonna insert a single keyframe, switch back here to top sheet. So I'm gonna go 5 frame later, so it's gonna be frame 12. Insert a single keyframe. Then I'm gonna go to frame 38. Yeah, 38. I'm gonna type -90. Insert a single keyframe, and then 43. Insert a single keyframe, and I'm gonna go right in the middle. So it's gonna be frame 25. Insert a single keyframe. If I switch here to the graph editor, I'm going to select this frame at the middle, rotate a little bit in that way, and scale it down. And now we can click on this little snowflake. I'm going to select page 1 and page 2 and move them to this layer on the bottom, and just to see them separate, to see the animation separately from all the other objects. And this is just just want to, let's see, oh yes, I need, so as you can see, the deformation of page 2 is doesn't have a time offset, so we need to do that first. So I'm selecting here on the NL editor the page 2 strip. I'm gonna hit grab and 6. Like that, I'm making sure that I have a 6 frame offset for the deformation of the page. And you can see that it's happening a little bit later for page 2 here screen. Something you want to be careful is to avoid intersection with your pages. So right now it seems to be okay, we don't have any intersection. In case you have an intersection, the way you can correct that is to slow down or accelerate the rotation of the page bones. And to do that, you can, like for example, if we want to slow down a little bit the rotation of page 2, for example. So I'm going to select this strip here on the nail editor, hit tab, and we can actually rotate that way if we want to slow down the rotation, and if we want to accelerate, we can rotate in that way. So right now it's okay. It seems there is no intersection, but just in case you have that, you can tweak that in the curve here. So tab back. We're gonna save, and so now I'm going to do it for page 3, 4, 5, and 6, but I'm gonna accelerate the video because that's gonna be the exact same action as we did for page 1 and page 2. So let's select page 3 and let's go.
Venu de la verrerie, toujours la vérité, et ce marbre seul dans ses lignes biscuitées. Par terre, étendu, la girouette coule de girofle. Il se coquérise, sacré patapouf. Venu de la verrerie, toujours la vérité, et ce marbre...
Okay, so we need to now synchronize the rotation of the bones with the deformation of the page for so the 3, 4, 5, 6 pages. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show all the strips here by toggling all the the little channels here, and I'm gonna select all the strips here. I'm gonna hit grab and 12. Then I'm gonna select those 3, grab 6. I'm gonna those 2, grab 6, and this one, grab 6. And yeah, that should be okay. So let's bring back those page 1 and page 2 to the 4th layer. So I'm selecting both of them, M to move, and the 4th layer. I'm gonna show all of them here, and let's see. Okay, so the first things we need to check, is there any intersection? It seems to be okay for all of them, so that's great. And what we want is to have the flipping page 2 times. So what we are going to do is, so if I toggle that, I'm going to select the strip for page 1. I'm going to go here on the hand panel, you're going to look for action clip, and a repeat, I'm going to type 2. And same thing here for all of the pages. Same thing here for page 5 and 6. And actually, I mean, I just select 2, but you can, of course, we can flip as much as we want. And don't forget to do it also for the bones. So the rotation has to be happening 2 times. So I'm selecting the strips, and again you just find under action clip panel the repeat option and type 2. Okay, so let's see, we should have now. So sometimes you can see that we have Blender doesn't know where to put the rotation for because no rotation is happening here on the for example for this bone, which is page 5. So the beginning of the rotation of page 5 is happening here. So before that, Blender doesn't have any information on what is the rotation of the page 5 bones. So basically it's gonna keep the last value he had in cache. So that's why sometimes, I mean, if you want to make sure that the whole animation is gonna be clean, you need to scroll everything to make sure that Blender knows what was the last value for the rotation. I mean, another solution would be to you can initialize all the rotation at the beginning by creating just a little strip with an initial value. But I mean, we don't need to do that. We just need to make sure that everything. What you can do also is to clear all the rotation before you can put all the page bones on the initial rotation like that before you start to play, and you won't have this problem. But I like to scroll it all the way until the end of the animation and go back like that, and you won't have the problem. Okay, so now we can show all the geometry, maybe like that. And then, so we have the flipping page. So if we hit play, we have all our page flipping. So as you can see, my timeline is going from frame 1 to 37, or now our animation is going till frame 103. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna here for the hand frame in our time frame, we're gonna type 120. Just to give enough time at the end to close the book. Okay, so the last thing we need to do is to animate the opening and the closing of the book. And also we need to animate the thickness of the mass of pages. Because all the pages are going to stack on the right side, we need to increase this side and decrease the thickness on this side of the mass of pages. So first we're going to do the opening of the book and the closing. So at the beginning we want everything to be closed. So I'm going to go in frame 1 here, and I'm going to rotate the main controller of 90 degrees on the x-axis, and I'm going to hit insert a single frame. I'm going to switch here to Dub Sheet just to see my keys. So let's see, on frame 1 the book is going to close, and we want to open it quite quickly. So we can go to frame the frame number 10, and I'm going to hit Alt R to clear the rotation, and here insert a single keyframe. So the first page is going to start to lift when the book is opening. Okay, and now we want to close the book. So if we go at frame 90, I'm going to insert a keyframe, so to make sure that we hold the book in this position for during the flipping page. And then we're going to close it on frame 110. So I'm going to type here -90 and insert a single frame, and we're going to hold the close position till the end of the animation. So in frame 120, I'm going to insert a single frame. Okay, so I'm going to click on these little snowflakes, and let's see if we hit play now. So it's a bit slow here. You can see that I'm running the animation at 7-8 frames per second. This is because I'm recording, so my computer is a bit slowing down because of that, but you probably can play much faster. But the timing should be great. Should be okay. And everything seems to work properly, so that's great. So then the last thing we need to animate is the thickness. So we're going to select these strips, and I'm going to hit Tab to go to the edit sheet to edit the keyframes, and we're just going to add some animation on the thickness of the page. So basically, it's going to stay during the opening of the book. It's going to stay like that, and let's say as soon as the first page starts to touch the other side, we can start to move the thickness. So I think we can go to frame 20, and so select the thickness bone, and here on the X location we're gonna insert a single frame, and let's go to frame 0 and insert a single frame also at 0. Like that we hold the position for the thickness bone for the 21st frame, and then it's gonna move till the last so let's see, at frame 85 at frame let's see, yes, 90, I think, just before the book closed, and we can bring it, let's see, not too much because there is not that much page flipping, so something like minus 0.045 should be okay. And I'm gonna right click and insert a single keyframe, and we're gonna hold this position till the end. So at frame 120 we're gonna insert a single keyframe here. Okay, so you can tab back here, and we should have all the animation done now. So let's go back to first frame and let's hit play to see the animation. So the bears are flipping, and we see here the thickness decreasing on this side and increasing on this side. So it's pretty good. I think it's happening a little bit too late on the thickness, and we are not going to change the position of the keys, but I mean the timing. We are not going to change the timing, but we're going to just tweak the curves to make sure that it's happening a little bit earlier. Let me show you. If we switch here to the graph editor and we tab here to go to make appear the curves, and so with the thickness selected, you can see that we have the X location of the thickness here. We just need to rescale our windows here. So again, Control Alt and left click, or Alt middle click if you're using a mouse. And as you can see, the curve is a spline, and I think we can actually use a linear, so like that it's gonna happen more quickly on the change of thickness is going to appear more quickly if we do that. So I'm going to hit A twice to select all my keys, and if you hit key here and you go to interpolation mode, we're going to select linear, and like that, as soon as we reach frame 20, the thickness bar is going to start to move. So it's a bit better like that. I'm going to tab back here, save, and let's go to the default view. I'm gonna hide the armature by unselecting this layer, and let's see, and we're gonna play the animation. And let's see if it's good. Yeah, it's a bit better because the thickness start to change a little bit earlier, so exactly what we want. Okay, so that's it for this part 4 tutorial, guys. So next part is going to be the last one, hopefully. And we're going to do some rendering. So we're going to add some materials to our pages, the mass of pages, the cover and the binding to have, and we're going to hide some light to have a nice nice render. And I'm going to show you how we can have different texture on both sides of the page, and also how we can create a nice shader with some in cycles with translucent, because if you watch closely at paper, you can see that usually paper is a little bit translucent, so it lets the ray of light going through. So that's going to be pretty interesting. So we'll do that in part 5. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you have any question, don't hesitate to leave a comment, and I will answer as soon as I can. And I'll see you in the next tutorial. Bye, guys.